Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hobby Quick Hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 199 of Hobby Quick Hits. Let's talk Super Bowl. I know we're a couple weeks removed from it. No, we're not going to talk about Kendrick Lamar's disc performance of Drake. That's not my area of expertise. But we're going to talk about the game, the performances by the players, and the hobby effect of said performances. What players got a bump, what ones took a hit to their bow, and the effect of the game on certain players in the hobby. We're even going to talk about a player who didn't even play in the game who might have got a bump from the game itself. So you're going to have to stay tuned to find out who I'm talking about. So that's what today's episode's about. And let's hear a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back with the new release schedule, some hobby news, and then we'll talk about the Super Bowl and its hobby repercussions.
Okay, now a quick word from our great sponsor, followed by the new product release schedule. Then we'll go around the Hobbyverse to tell you all the latest hobby happenings and news. Then we'll tackle today's topic of discussion.
Hi, this is Pat Hughes, Cubs announcer, coming to you from the Sports Card Shop in beautiful New Buffalo, Michigan. The Gocher family has built an incredible place here for collectors to buy, sell, and trade cards and memorabilia. Be sure to stop by and let them show you around. TheSportsCardShop.com, connecting sports, athletes, the hobby, and collectors around the world.
Hi. This is Alan Pinkett, and I'm here to tell you the Gocher family has done it again. They've just opened up the Sport Card Shop in downtown Valparaiso, Indiana, and it is awesome. If you're a collector, you need to check this place out. Tell them Alan sent you and get a free gift on your first visit.
All right, guys, let's talk about what's coming out for product in the next couple weeks. Let's start with February 26th, 2024, Panini Illusions Football. 2025, Topps Finest X-Men 97. On the 27th, 23/24, Topps Midnight Basketball. On the 28th, 2024/25, Panini Prism Choice Basketball. The 28th, 2025, Leaf Metal Poker. Going to March on the 5th, Cheers Premier Edition Trading Cards. Also on the 5th, Keepsake Rambo Premier Edition. 2024, Panini Prospect Edition Baseball. 2024, Panini Obsidian Football. Staying on the 5th, 2024, Panini Prism The Rolling Stones Hobby Mega. 2025, Pieces of the Past, 9-year edition, Series 1. 2025, Top Series 1 Baseball Super Boxes. Those are what you sometimes find at your Costco's. Also on the 5th, Upper Deck, James Bond, 007 Black Diamond. 2024/25 Upper Deck Series 2 Hockey. Going to the 7th of March, Panini Prism Basketball Fast Break 2024/25 there. 2024 Panini Prism Live Golf, LIV Golf. Also on the 7th, 2024 Pokemon TCG World Championship Deck, Pokemon 2025 Stacking Tin, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Prismatic Evolutions Booster Bundle, staying on the 7th as well. Topps Finest Football 2024. 2024 Topps Finest Football Breaker Delight. 2024 Leaf Heroes and Prospects Football Hobbies and Jumbos. And closing it out on the 10th, 2025 Pulse Meridian Football. There's your wax coming out in the next 2 weeks. Choose your weapon. Happy ripping.
Let's go round the hobbyverse and catch up on this week's hobby news.
And find out. All right, let's start with the Four Nations Hockey Tournament. Well done by the NHL and people who put it on for, just like the name says, Four Nations, right? Finland, Sweden, the U.S., and Canada. 2 great U.S. and Canada games, including the finals, which went into overtime, and Connor McDavid, 10 years to the day, from another famous game-winning goal, did it again as Canada wins the first Four Nations title. And this had a, I'm an NHL guy. I'm a hockey fan, New York Rangers. This had a Stanley Cup final sort of feel to it. A lot of emotions. I know in the first matchup there were some fights. These guys wanted this mid-season kind of championship, if you will. And so, good job by the NHL putting this on. Hope to see it again, maybe with a few more teams or different teams here and there each year that they do this. There's some memorabilia, from the tournament itself. Go to NHLauctions.com and you'll be able to bid on some of the stuff used in the tournament. We talked about Tom Brady buying a card store. Investments from athletes continue. This time, Bobby Witt Jr., part of a conglomerate investing group that put $10 million into the infrastructure of Collects, Ted Mann's company there, as they expand their range and reach. So we'll see. He's now also ambassador and spokesman for the platform as well. So you'll be seeing more Bobby Witt Jr., which is cool. He's a collector. Now, Bobby, if you're listening, you want to come on the podcast and talk about it, you're more than welcome. All right. I hate these stories, but a lot of police blotter stuff for this week. So let's get to that. A USPS postal worker in Billings, Montana, was pled guilty to stealing between $85,000 and $150,000 worth of mail, sports cards through the mail. Not the brightest guy in the world. He was stealing shipments from a card store called Luckbox, and then eventually trying to sell those cards that he was stealing, that they were shipping, back to the same store. So got caught. He's got to pay restitution. His name is Zachary Simpson, 37 years old there. And this happened between the years of 2023 and 2024. And just to be fair, that it's not always young people committing crimes. We reported this story before. 84-year-old Colorado man, Mayo Gilbert McNeil, pled guilty to stealing $800,000, pled guilty to mail and wire fraud charges as he made actually fake slabs. So a lot of times he put lesser conditioned real cards in higher graded, not real slabs. So, for example, he sold a PSA 10 Michael Jordan to someone in the New York City area, which wasn't a PSA 10. And this one really had me scratching my head. He sold it for $4,500. So a supposed PSA 10 Michael Jordan Fleer rookie for $4,500. Now, shame on the buyer. Like, you should know that you're not getting a PSA 10 Michael Jordan rookie for $4,500. But Guess if you don't know, you don't know. But Mr. McNeil pleading guilty to mail and wire fraud. And this one making the rounds too on social media. Cards HQ, that's Jeff Wilson's company and card store in Atlanta. An employee, Stephen Christopher Adams, allegedly took $20,000 worth of cardboard and chrome. Initially, it was reported as cards, and now it's coming out that it's sealed wax that he took. Stephen went on his social media to claim innocence and says the story is 100% untrue, and he looks forward to clearing his name and getting back to business in the hobby. Safe to say that business won't be done under the Cards HQ banner. So he has been charged. We'll see, have to wait and see how this all plays out. So I hate these stories, but, we do have to cover them, sometimes when they occur. So a bad week for the hobby police blotter.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, let's talk about the Super Bowl. We're, again, a couple weeks removed from the event that took place in New Orleans. It did not go the way, full disclosure, it did not go the way I anticipated or predicted. I thought Kansas City would win a close game, and so pretty surprised. I thought Hurts would be the one that made a couple mistakes with the hot lights on him, and Mahomes would be the more poised. Got that one reversed as well. Mahomes, and shout out to Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, probably the best DC in the game, and had a game plan for the Chiefs and Mahomes, and really made them look bad. And that game was really not competitive and was over pretty early, and I was shocked watching it. If you would have told me the Eagles would have won, I wouldn't have been surprised. But if you told me they would have won and put up a 40 burger in the process and just blown the Chiefs out of the building, yeah, I would have been surprised by that. That's exactly what happened, though. So let's talk about some of those performances. Let's talk about the two quarterbacks. I already mentioned them. Mahomes did not have a great game. He's now 3-2 in Super Bowls, and I am guilty of this myself, but kind of the Mahomes / Brady comparison and talk, and I got to learn, maybe it's too soon to do that. I still believe Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. He just had a really bad night, thanks again to that Eagles defense led by Vic Fangio. But I think we need to temper the Brady talk, and I think we need to temper our expectations a little bit. I still think he's a great buy, as cards are obviously going to go down a little bit after this performance. But if you're like me and believe he's really the one of, if not the best quarterback the NFL has right now, might not be the worst time to buy on this dip that's going on right now after that game. So if you're still like me, who believes there's another ring, 2, and even potentially 3 rings in the Mahomes arsenal, again, buy cheap, right? Now, I don't know if it's going to get more cheaper than this, unless he really goes into a dry spell. Anything can happen. I don't see that. I think Kansas City will rebound, add some pieces to their team, and they're going to be a contender still, even after a tough loss. Jalen Hurts, I thought he was going to make a few mistakes. He played pretty clean. And this is his second appearance in the Super Bowl, his first win. But he's gotten to 2 Super Bowls. And there's something to be said about that, right? Some quarterbacks never get to a Super Bowl. Some quarterbacks obviously never win one. Now he has a ring and 2 appearances. And obviously his cards are already started to go up and have seen a bump. If you believe in the Eagles long term, Sirianni, Fangio, who's getting a little bit older, and you think they're going to be in this mix, maybe Hurts isn't as bad of an investment as I once thought he might be. Would I back up the Brinks truck and buy a bunch of Jalen Hurts stuff? No, but I'm less hesitant today than I was a month or two ago. Let's put it that way. Let's talk about some running backs. In general, running backs are not great players to, put some money in on the football side of the hobby, but there are a few exceptions to that rule. And one of them played in this game, and he actually did not play well. That's the one thing Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, did well, was kind of game plan to stop Saquon. He pretty much did that, but everyone else was let free, and that's how Philadelphia scored 40 points. Saquon is the best running back in the NFL right now. Almost 2,000 yards this year. Almost broke the single season record. Just had some crazy big games. And keep in mind, everyone knows he is getting the ball 20 to 25 times a game, and yet he still puts up the numbers he does. He's the legit real deal. I think he's eventually, barring injury, he's going to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And yes, his cards did get a bump, probably more so on the whole season he had rather than his Super Bowl performance. But there's really some deals still to be had on the Saquon front, especially on the regular rookie type side, or even some RPAs aren't really out of the stratosphere. So, if you're like me and you believe that Barkley is a first ballot Hall of Famer, apparently my dog does as well, but I do. Still, maybe not a bad time to buy. Let's talk about the guy on the other side of the field in the running back spot, Isaiah Pacheco. Obviously he had a not so good game, and some of it was due to the score, and then Kansas City had to rely on the pass, and they went away from the run game, understandably. Pacheco's a good running back. He's probably not a guy. I kind of look at the Chiefs like the Patriots used to handle their running backs. They just use different ones. They use Kareem Hunt at one point. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the guy. They don't really. They just use whatever they need to do to be successful. So I don't think they're really a one-back team, which obviously hurts a running back's value when you're not the guy. That's why Derrick Henry is a great back, and some of his cards are worth money. Saquon Barkley, right? Because those guys carry the load. The Chiefs don't really. Pacheco doesn't necessarily fit that mold. And long term, I don't think he's going to be a guy you hang your hat on as a superstar running back. So this one is easily Barkley, and that has nothing to do with the matchup. That's just the way it is. Let's talk about the receivers. Let's start with the winning team, right? You had A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. They had fairly pedestrian Super Bowls. Their leading Eagles receiver was Smith with 4 catches for 69 yards. But I'm a big Devonta Smith fan. I like him. I like A.J. Brown. As Hurts develops and even improves on being a quarterback, these guys probably get better as well. Again, am I backing up the Brinks truck for either of these two guys? Probably not, but they're also, that doesn't mean that you can't buy some cards, enjoy them, and some of them will, see an appreciation. Not so much right now after this game, but again, they didn't put up a big number. Neither one won Super Bowl MVP. That was Hurts. But long term, if you think they're legit receivers, I do. Devonta Smith is very, very affordable, and I think he's going to have a pretty good career. So I don't think they're getting a bump. So if you do want to buy him, and now's not even the worst time as people focus on the quarterbacks. Hurts, and in Barkley's case, him, right? All right, let's talk about the Chiefs pass catchers. let's start with their speedster and rookie speedster at that. Xavier Worthy, who set the 40-yard dash record at the combine with 4.21. He's one of the fastest, if not the fastest guy in the NFL. He had a big Super Bowl. He caught 8 passes for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is definitely talented. Some of those numbers and that box score comes from the way the game flowed, and they were down so much that Mahomes just had to keep throwing it, and he was definitely a big benefactor of that fact. That doesn't mean he's not good. I just think don't read into the 8, 157 and 2 touchdowns and think that's what you get every game. But he's a legit receiver. He's a big kid at 5'11", 172. Not super big, under 200 pounds, but not 6 foot. But he's a legit player, and if you're a believer, he's got one of the best quarterbacks throwing to him. So his stuff's not necessarily cheap. Probably that Super Bowl performance, even though it's an outlier performance based on Mahomes just having to be kind of one-dimensional, I'm sure his cards haven't really, his cards have one of the few Chiefs that probably got a bump from the Super Bowl where a lot of other people didn't. So if you believe in Worthy long-term, maybe I'd wait a little bit here for the hype sort of to die down before I go buying a bunch of Xavier Worthy cards. No one else really. I know Juju and Smith-Schuster's trying to kind of revive his whiteout career, but he's just sort of a complimentary player now, so nothing to speak of there. Travis Kelce, right? Probably a first ballot, not probably, is a first ballot Hall of Fame tight end. Pretty ugly Super Bowl performance where he looked sluggish, slow, could not get open. And I think that was even exacerbated more, folks, when the fact is that they were passing a lot and he still had a terrible game. It's brought out some of the retirement talk, even by Kelce himself. So it really doesn't matter what happens with him going forward because his Hall of Fame career is sort of already cemented in the books. But, his stuff's taken a little bit of a down arrow because of how bad he looked in the Super Bowl. So it may not be a bad time to add a few Kelce rookies to your collection because he's a sure shot, bona fide first ballot Hall of Fame tight end, and ranks as one of the best all-time tight ends in NFL history. So, they always say buy on the dip, right? Well, now it's kind of that dip, so maybe not the worst time to grab some Kelce rookies. Let's talk about a guy who didn't even play in this game, who before he got hurt was having a big year. And that's Rashee Rice. And yes, I know there's some legal trouble off the field with a hit and run and leaving the scene. There is probably going to be a suspension handed down to him by the NFL in 2025. I don't know how long. And, there's been rumors it could be a year, it could be half a year, it could be 4 games. Again, there's some legal trouble there, so there may even be some time where he has to serve in jail. So a lot of question marks here. The one thing that's not a question mark with Rashee Rice is the talent. He's a legit NFL wide receiver. If he wasn't, the Chiefs would probably have cut him as soon as all that trouble broke, right? And they didn't. And not only did they not cut him, they played him while they were still legal to play him, and he wasn't suspended by the NFL, and his legal stuff was sort of put on hold. So he is a legit receiver. He's not the speed baller that Xavier Worthy is. Maybe off the field he is in his car, but on the field, but he isn't that far off. And I think he's probably more of a consistent receiver. And again, he didn't play. He's sort of out of sight, out of mind. People are a little hesitant because they don't know how long he's getting suspended for, and people are tentative to buy him. So, if you believe in the talent that is Rashee Rice, again, buy on that dip. Buy when people aren't thinking about him. Again, off of, a double-digit Super Bowl blowout loss, a game which he didn't play, and people probably have forgot about him. He may not be a bad buy if you think he can overcome these legal obstacles, miss minimal time, and stay out of trouble, right? It's one thing to get in trouble, get by that trouble, but not return to trouble. So if you think he's going to be the type of player and person that's going to learn from his mistakes, he's probably a good buy right now. If you think he's a guy that's just going to be in what's next kind of trouble, then it's probably better to say goodbye in terms of waving goodbye and not purchase him. That will be your call and decision to make individually. But the talent is there for sure. All right. Thank you for listening to another episode of Hobby Quick Hits. Want to give out our social media, starting with our website, which is www.sportscardnationpodcast.com. Facebook, you can follow us at www.facebook.com/SportsCardNationPodcast/. Twitter, we are at SportsCardNati1, so it's SportsCard NATI1. Instagram, at SportsCardNationPodcast, or you can email the show, hobbyquickhits@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.